Hello, everyone. Michael Demond here with some more Starbeam.one content. Yes, back for more. First off, thank you to everyone out there who has provided such great feedback for my previous recordings. It's very much appreciated. All the likes. I know there's not very many because I don't have a really large network right now. But the small network that I do have, it's amazing to have that appreciation and also support and that feedback, and I'm still looking for that, any way that I can improve or add value to Starbeam.one and just myself as well. Of course, always open to having that, but anything right now is awesome, and I really do appreciate that. And so kind of just moving on to what this is about, during Starbeam.one's development, every month I would have a monthly update, and it was just a blog post. It was just a real simple blog post. And now that I've released the alpha preview, been thinking about doing a weekly series. I was actually thinking about doing a daily series, but that seems a little bit too much right now. But I think dedicating a day to like marketing, which is you're supposed to do anyway as being a business owner, it's kind of a love-hate topic sort of thing. But I'm kind of open for the challenge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that monthly blog, and make it a weekly series. So I'm going to check in with you. With this series, I'm calling it Standup and Shined, or Standup and Shill. They both kind of mean the same thing. I'm sort of, deciding between the titles. I might just go with it anyways, or with both of them anyways. I'm also, just to add to it, I'm sitting down while I'm standing up, sort of thing. And so that's kind of what you've got here. We're going with what we got. And so, it's a weekly show that is going to be doing to supplement that monthly. So now it's still doing the monthly, but now it's this, right? And so this will be taking place. In fact, today is that monthly check-in. So you get a video in place of a blog. Well, in fact, the blog will be pointing to this. So, but hopefully you get the idea, right? So it's going to be a weekly stand-up, and a stand-up is a concept from agile methodology. And I know people hate that, but it's the one thing that I can remember from any of my agile methodology training that I appreciate, because it's a daily check-in with your teammates, with your team. And so you are my team. You are my audience, and I want to check in with you, and I'm going to do it on a weekly basis. And how this works is I say what I worked on, and then, for the previous week, and then what I'm going to be working on. And then typically you say what any blocking issues. In this case, I'm just going to say friction points, and we'll get into that with the upcoming slide here. But that's basically it. It's just a stand-up and just checking in with you, letting you know what I work on and what I'm going to be working on, and just give some visibility to what's going on with Starbeam.one. All right, so with that in mind, let's continue here. Okay, I don't have a dashboard just yet, and in fact, that's one of the tasks I'm going to be working on here. But I'm kind of going through the logs and trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and observability is kind of another task that we'll get into here as well. But just kind of going through some statistics for this. We opened a week ago, so we've been in 1 week of existence of the alpha preview. So this is fake money. It's like monopoly money. It's just a faucet. You just deposit money into your account, and there's no into your funding account, and there's no bank or PayPal involved at all. It's just fake money at this point. So we've been doing this for a week, and we've got 9 user accounts from that during that time. And then we've published 5 different products between 2 different artists that should be listed there as well, between myself and a friend of mine who is an artist out in Seattle. Got him set up as well. He's still up there. They're all up there on the front page right now. There's 5 product lines that you can purchase from, and those generated 9 issuances. So issuance is just a collection of digital licenses, and I get into that with the introduction sessions and how that works on our publishing system in place. So we've got 9 issuances and a total of 60 digital licenses. So out of those 9 issuances, which are just a collection of digital licenses, there are 60 total digital licenses that have been published and have been ready for sale. And out of those 60, 14 of them have sold so far. So doing some quick math here, that's 46. Is that right? 36? Is that right? 46. So there's 46 digital licenses that are remaining, and they can be purchased with fake money deposited into your account. We'll get into how we do deposits here later on in this session. But kind of just rounding out here, no critical errors, and I'm kind of knocking on wood here, but that's sort of the point here is we're wanting to test out the system, see what breaks and see what works. And so far, no critical issues have been encountered. There have been errors, and I have been addressing them. But for the most part, it's been looking good so far. But we need more people to test out for sure. So if you want to test out the system or know someone that wants to test out the system, please bring them by, have them sign up. Contact me on Twitter. You can find out in the comments. I have a link to my Twitter profile. Is the best way of catching me, and I'll help out. So hopefully I get you a little bit of idea here on what has been happening in the system. Let's talk about what I did. Something to mention real quick about those statistics is that we're going to be having a dashboard. So we'll see in the next slide here, one of the tasks I have is to create a dashboard so you can see any time of day those type of statistics. So something to be aware of. In addition to these weekly sessions, you can also get an overview of that. So along those lines, what did I work on this past week? And it was just fixing bugs. We launched, and there's a lot of little minor issues that occurred. And that's what I did. I just basically spent like 3 or 4 days right in a row just fixing them as they occurred. And also feedback, things like, there were like styling issues or, just little things like that. So there weren't any major bugs, which, again, I mentioned in the previous slide, and very, very thankful for that. And, that's just, having that, and also getting the product up there. So I worked with an artist out of Seattle, a friend of mine. I got his first, Magnus. He's still up there actually, because he sold his first product, and it wasn't by anyone that we knew. So that was really cool. It's still fake money or whatnot, but still it proved out the system, right? Someone went in, and so first someone published a product, and then someone went in and purchased it. So it was just like, fake money, but still it works, and it didn't throw any errors, and that was even better, right? So we had that, and his product is still up there, and you can still purchase it to kind of test the system out some more. So please do that. So after that, I just took a little bit of a breather. It's been like, I think I mentioned this at the end of the other sessions I had. It's just a lot of intensity for the past couple weeks. So I just been kind of chilling out a little bit and taking my time here. And then also it's kind of starting into yesterday, so starting the plan for the alpha, to get ready for that. And that's kind of lead us to the next session here, or next slide here. Okay, so kind of an introduction here is for the past 2 years I have been using Excel. I've been using Excel for all of my planning, and there's a lot of planning tooling out there, and none of them did what I wanted. And that is what you see up on the screen, where I can just take a bunch of tasks and put an hourly amount, put an hourly estimate on them, and then have a total, and then have an idea of how long it's going to take to finish all of those tasks and when I can make an announcement, sort of thing. So I kind of wanted to demonstrate that because it's so simple. So simple. I just have an Excel spreadsheet, and I know everyone works in Excel, and that's kind of a maxim you hear online. It's kind of true because it's so simple, even though it is kind of buggy in some places, and I don't like it in some ways. But still, as opposed to like paying $20 a month or more for something that doesn't do this, which is really simple, I'm okay with that. And so kind of, what you see here in the yellow, how this works is all the tasks that are above the yellow are previous tasks or stories. You can call them stories, and they're all done. So I just kind of show them there to kind of, demonstrate these are all done. And so they all sum to 0. So it's today's date. So everything just works on how much time is left in the tasks that are remaining in a story. That's it. And I don't do story points or anything like that. It's just all based on hours, and really it's just based on days. So when I estimate things, it's by days and like half days, maybe more like quarter days. But that's the extent of it. I don't get any more fancy than that. And I've been doing this for 2 years, and it's been somewhat accurate. So I'm pretty happy with the system. And so as you can see, right now I'm working on the remaining alpha preview, or excuse me, the preview alpha features. And so the first story right now is that I'm kind of in a vulnerable spot right now with my deployment, and everything is just it just works. I just deploy it, and everything is all one fell swoop. So all the code gets built, and then all the artifacts are made, and that takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how finicky Azure DevOps is. And then I do another release, and that's all of everything. So it's like 20 minutes, and it's everything. So if I just have one line of code that just got fixed, everything gets updated. And so, there's a warm up time for each and every service. So it really just impacts. And plus, the worst part is that if I did something that introduced a new error, there's no way of rolling back. So it just works. And this is like a priority 1 for me, a priority 0, if there could be such a thing. And I call this developer operations version 2. So this is going to make it so that I can, just do a build, and then it'll deploy to a slot, and then I can do the swapping of the slots. And so if there is something that takes down a particular service, I can just swap it back to what was there before, and have that redundancy, so to speak, and a little bit of a confidence measure, because right now everything is just like there and it will break. And if I have something that breaks that, then it's going to be like 15 or 20 minutes before that gets fixed. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. That's probably one. And so the other thing after that is the dashboard. So I want to have a dashboard that gets those statistics that you saw up there, just to kind of show, hey, these are how many accounts that we have, and these are how many sales we've made, and this is how many products we've issued, and how many digital licenses that we've, licensed our products. So digital licenses, how many digital licenses that we've issued and published, and that are available on the marketplace, things like that. So it's really basic to start with, but we're going to have that, and something to view, to kind of get an idea of how active the system is. I'm going to be on it, continuously, sort of thing. And maybe also kind of connections. That's also another thing that I'm watching, is how many connections are we getting. Got a shout out to JetBrains. I don't know if you can see my shirt. I'm going to say JetBrains. Oh, that kind of, yeah, there you go, JetBrains. And, I've got an acknowledgement out to the JetBrains team in my acknowledgement section, and I was like over 50 connections yesterday. So it's the most traffic I've gotten. So thank you, JetBrains. And, it's sort of an interesting thing, because, back in the day when we did advertising, it was all about getting traffic, right? And now it's no longer getting traffic, it's getting traffic and sales. So you not only have to get the person to view the site, you've got to get a person to create an account, and then they have to purchase something, which means putting, not in this version, but the next version, they're going to have to get their PayPal involved and whatnot. So it's like a whole new level of challenge, a whole new game, because with advertising, you just get people and then you get paid. You get paid fractions of a penny, but you still get paid. And that's the whole idea. But here it's getting quality people, and then quality connections that translate, right, or convert, I guess is probably the appropriate expression, convert into the, signing in, and then convert into putting into PayPal, and then convert into actually buying something. So there's like 3 different levels there. And, it's going to be a tremendous challenge, but I'm up for it. And we'll see how we do here. So, okay. And finally, just, I probably shouldn't be admitting this, but observability, right? I have really very little on what is occurring. The only thing that I know what happens in the system right now is an error. So I'm very comfortable around that. But anything else, I kind of have an idea of what's happening, but there really is no details on who did what, and when a purchase occurs, who made that, or the traceability. There's no traceability or anything like that. And so just having that around, it helps out a little bit more, just kind of get a better idea of what's occurring in the system, and just having feeling a little more comfortable about things going forward. So that's what I'm going to be doing this next week. Okay, let's move on to the next slide here. All right, so for a stand-up, which I'm sitting down, you have your what did you do, what are you working on, and what are you blocked by? And mostly, I kind of also want to knock on wood here, that these days you don't really get blocked by released software. There's a lot of friction. It's what I encounter. What I've noticed is a lot of friction. So like right now, I'm probably a little bit more religious about this than I need to be, or a little bit more zealous than I need to be, but I report everything. So when I see something both in Visual Studio, mostly Visual Studio, afraid to say, or with JetBrains with ReSharper, I report it. If something is just there, I just got into the habit of reporting it, and it becomes sort of like a pride thing, right? Because you become a craftsperson. And I can just go on and on about this, and I did with the introduction sessions, but you're becoming a better person with reporting that, but you're also improving software all around. There's just so much that you benefit from doing that. But it's also, I want to have a working environment. I want to have something where that doesn't break all the time. So I'm invested in this too. So it's a habit. And, especially right now, I kind of got Microsoft listed there. I got a lot of deadlocks. So I'll just be using something and I'll be deadlocking, and that's just never a good thing, right? And so that's kind of what I'm going through right now. And then debugger right now with preview 2, 17.2 preview 1. I'm having really just weird issues with the debugger, just very slow. And it's really difficult to use, and so it's almost I can't debug with it, and that's kind of a concern, right? And then finally, that it's still the same issue with those corrupt. And I'll put links to these in the comments. It's gonna be posted on YouTube, excuse me, and I'll put I'll put those links in the comments for you to see. JetBrains, I don't really have a lot to say here. Just Blazor development is a well-known issue. I'll also kind of post the comment, but JetBrains, everyone over there, Sergey Kooks, you especially, doing an excellent job over there. Thank you so much for helping out with all the DMP files I send you. Just excellent analysis, and you're really on it. You're just so on it. Thank you for that. I can't thank you enough, because you've just been doing such a great job over there. And if you haven't asked for a raise lately, get on that, because you deserve it. And I just kind of wanted to thank you for that and express my appreciation. And so going with that, really not a lot past with JetBrains, just kind of also with Blazor development, and making that a focus, because we're building businesses here, right? I'm building a business, I'm building a startup, and it'll be awesome to have that confidence going forward that more resources are going into Blazor development. Okay, so finally here we got there's OAuth 2. So there's something that I mentioned in the identity system with the introduction videos, and that has to do with the security and having that identity chain, that backup, having that. So if your Twitter identity, for example, gets suspended on Twitter, well, that may impact your ability to sign into my application, right? Well, I was like, does that actually happen? I've been doing research into this, and I can't find a definitive answer. So I've opened a forum post on this forum, and I'll share the link as well to kind of get that discussion going, because no one can really say for certain yet if this is an issue, if this actually occurs. And I'm also wanting to start the conversation, maybe for like OAuth 3, maybe we shouldn't have this happen. Maybe it violated your policies on your main site, but it didn't violate ours just yet, sort of thing. And now, because you suspended this account, that's impacting my business, right? Because now people are going to be complaining to me that they can't get into their account, even though I'm suggesting that they have a backup account, and I've explained how to do this. They're still going to be complaining, right? It's still complex, right? In order to have that backup account, there's a complex process to it, and it's just going to be inevitable before someone complains about it, and it's going to put me in a really tight spot, so to speak. So just kind of want to get the conversation going. Maybe for OAuth 3, I don't think it can be done now, or maybe it's nothing to be worried about, but just getting some like a definitive answer around this to know, our account's being suspended on my side in addition to your side. So that's it. So hopefully we can get some more discussion around that. I'm going to be sharing this to that thread to kind of help out. So, all right, so let's move on to the next point here. Effectiveness level. So I'm not really liking that word. It is actually kind of close. Again, this is one of those writer kind of things. As a writer fail, it's momentum. Momentum's kind of a better word. It seems a little off though. It's almost like velocity. It is velocity, but people hate that word with agile, and I try to stay away from that. Although I am kind of agile-ish. I am, it is what you make of it, sort of thing. But this is just how I feel. It's also like a confidence level, right? It's like, how do I feel about the project as a whole, or basically about my abilities to get things done. And, I'm in between major stories right now. So I just launched alpha preview, and now I'm starting to get into that developer ops. And I found that, when I am in between those zones, I kind of don't do anything. I'm on Twitter a lot, and I'm kind of like doom scrolling, as they say, especially now with the recent events and the news that are in there, which is really disheartening. Especially we all know someone globally these days, right? So that is especially sort of very worrisome. And right now I'm just kind of like I'm not exactly a 10. Let's just put it that way. I'm kind of like a 3.5. Like I'm getting things done, but I'm not very thorough right now. Like I'm just not very thorough is not a good word for it. It's just not very, I don't have a lot of oomph to it. So the fact that I can't even think of the word kind of just shows you where I'm at. So I would put myself, I rounded up, because the slider that I'm using here doesn't do 0.5. It's 4, so I rounded up for you on that. So it kind of just give you an idea. So this is something I'm going to be doing every week, just kind of give you an idea of where I'm at. And, if I do stand-ups, if stand-ups become a thing with starbeam.one, with our starbeam.one team, I'm kind of wanting everyone to be like, this is how I feel. It's like a feeling. It's an emotion. It's like how do I feel about things all around, generally, sort of thing. Okay. All right, time to shill here. I helped put in a faucet yesterday, and I just like things like that, right? Just we took out the entire sink, so I'm kind of a quasi homeowner here, and I'm learning things about what it means to own a home bit by bit. And one of it was putting in a faucet, and I was thinking, this kind of reminds me of the faucet that I have for my deposit, my faucet deposit. And I thought maybe it might be a kind of a cool idea to demonstrate that here for our first session of Stand-Up and Shill. If I can remember the name for it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show off that faucet deposit, and I know that I already did a session like that, but I felt those were kind of rushed, and I'm not too happy with it. In fact, I'm going to redo them when I get ready for the actual alpha here and at the end of April. That it looks like I'm hoping to really reach that at the end of April, and so that's what we're going to do here. And what I've got is the home page. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the account, or I'm going to go to the menu here, just slide that out with that little hamburger icon. I'm going to authenticate, and then this shows you the authentication choices that we have for starbeam.one. A little note, put in Yahoo. If you have got a Yahoo account, friends and family members do have Yahoo. So I put that in there in case you want to try things out. And now I typically just go with Twitter. So I'm just going to sign in with Twitter here. And away we go. Just a click. And I've already accepted the permissions and everything. And so here we are. Now I'm signed in, and I've got that heads up display, the HUD. And I'm going to go here to the flares. Flares are the currency that is being used in starbeam.one. Keep in mind, there is no underlying coin, no asset, no blockchain, anything of that nature. Flares are just used to signify the US dollar. It's very simple. So nothing is traded here. It's not like a typical cryptocurrency, because it's not a cryptocurrency at all. So it's just world building in this case. And just wanted to have something that you're on a starship, and the US dollar seemed a little out of place. And so I went with flares, and it kind of works with the wordplay that I've got. I've got a wordplay theme going on here with this application. And so that's what you see with this little icon I'm using throughout the application is a flare, which is $1 US, and I have little reminders out throughout the application that you can see as well. So nothing's traded, nothing is used like a security or anything like that. It's just a fancy way of saying a dollar. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this deposit, and then it takes us to our deposit screen. Now, what you see are options for depositing, and for the alpha, for the preview. For the preview here, it's up to $25. You can have up to $25 in your account, and that's how this works. So it'll provide options for you to select up to $25 into your account. I'm just going to keep things simple. I'll actually select it here to kind of show you what happens when you do select, and I'm just going to keep it simple and keep it at 5. And so the next step is to determine the provider. And so what I'm going to be using for starbeam.one is just like we saw with the OAuth, is providing providers for you to select. And what this does is it gives you choice to go with just like with the OAuth providers, go with a provider that you know and trust. And the other thing that's going to happen with that is I'm going to pass any sort of fees that they incur onto you because it comes with that choice, right? So what that will provide, so to speak, is the choice to select the provider that has less fees if you want to go with that. So maybe you might go with PayPal, but they have higher fees than Coinbase, or Stripe is the other provider that I'm looking at having for the alpha here end of April. And so PayPal might be higher, so you might actually try Coinbase or Stripe to see how those fees treat you, sort of thing. And that's kind of what we'll be using. And hopefully we'll end up having other providers down the line that have even lesser fees. So I just kind of want to pass on those fees to kind of lend that option, or to kind of provide that that choice to kind of bring that home and for you as a consumer, right? Because it's free market, and just providing that choice is sort of important. It's just like with the OAuth, you go with who you know and trust, sort of thing. So I'm kind of clicking through here. I went from the faucet to the PayPal to kind of show you what fees are incurred, and these have actually increased. These are the fees that were 2 years ago when I first started developing this thing, and so they've actually increased since then. But Stripe is actually, I think, is still 2.7 right now. So there's that, and I'm going to click on Coinbase here. And Coinbase did not have any fees at all when I started. They do now. I think it's 1%. So here, again, you get the choice. It's like, do I go with someone like PayPal who I know and I've used in the past, or do I want to save a little bit of money here and use Coinbase, or I might use cryptocurrency. Besides that, Coinbase does have, I believe, the last time I checked, Coinbase Commerce specifically has a 1% fee at this moment. So, okay, so let's go back to the faucet. And for the faucet, getting back to that faucet, right? It just kind of reminded me, I was like, well, I'm putting in a faucet. Might as well talk about the faucet. I love things like that. It's just who I am. This is also getting to Jung, Carl Jung. I discussed him in my introduction sessions. And he has this concept of synchronicity. And so I'm really a big fan of that. So, okay, so now I'm just going to click start, and that's going to start the deposit here. And hopefully with a little luck, it'll take some time. So I've deployed. You can tell I deployed because it's taken like 7 seconds to queue up. And there we go. So the deposit deposited, and we have our deposit now. You can see up here in the HUD, it has increased by 5. And so we've got that deposit now, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of an explanation, a little bit of context of how this works. Okay, thank you for putting up with 25 minutes of me. Yeah, they won't be this long going forward. I'm going to try to keep them more snappy, but, hopefully you get an idea of, this is what was going to be happening every week. I guess, I think I looked at it like a weekly. It's supposed to be like 20 minutes. Is that right? I'll have to look into that. So this is okay for like a podcast. It's sort of like the feeling that we're going here, just to kind of give some visibility to me and also starbeam.one, right? I think the face of the product should be accessible and visible, and I'm a very big believer in that, and it gives you an idea of what's going on with the product so you can hear it directly from me. So I think that's important. If you've got feedback, I've got these hashtags. I'm very active on Twitter, which is that QR code. These are QR codes, by the way. I hope they work with all these new colors. I've been trying them out, and they seem like they work. And I didn't realize that you can really customize them on the site that I'm using. I'll provide that in the comments as well. But you can reach me at feedback@starbeam.one, starbeam.one, and that's there, the QR code at the bottom. And just check the alpha out, and that URL is there. It's alpha.starbeam.one. And yeah, you can reach me there. And if you've got any feedback, constructive or otherwise, I accept it, and I'll meet you there. And so thank you for everything, all the support, all the likes. I very much appreciate it. And stay safe out there. And until next time, stay bright.